You tell us, ma'am, what do you make out of these early numbers that we are giving? Do you believe that Nitish Kumar's popularity has significantly declined, or is it simply the fact that over 15 years there is a fatigue factor?
No, it's not simply fatigue. If you go back to the fact that in 2015, Nitish Kumar campaign was a very, very people-oriented campaign. It had definite promises, and out of all the promises, for example, there were cycle peddlers, there were people on cycle who were going around saying 15 lakh rupiya aapke account mein aayega, and that was a very anti-BJP pitch to Nitish Kumar's personal campaign. So this time around, people are tallying what he said to what he did, and in the last 2 years, he's certainly been a chief minister who's not really been very, very open. I had mentioned on an earlier program, whether it was the Muzaffarpur ashram issue, or it has been the mishandling of the floods in Patna last year, or the Chamki Bukhar. On many issues, people have come around to speaking. And also at the time of the corona pandemic, his quietude, his quietness, even the BJP itself felt that Yogi Adityanath in Uttar Pradesh was doing a far more better job getting the students from Kota or getting his labor back, sending buses, even picking up Bihari labor and getting them till Gorakhpur bus stand. So there is a definite anti-incumbency, and the chehre ki rajniti in an atmosphere where there is so much anti-incumbency is something that the BJP should have thought about. Its own cadres were very upbeat about going a little against Nitish Kumar or the combination, but the decision was for a coalition. And now you can see, notwithstanding the coalition, you can see that people are expressing a definite resentment against the government.
But
it's
the
not
fact
simply
is,
fatigue, it's also people's questioning of what has happened in the last 3 years.
Sure, but the fact is also, and this is where Supriya Shrinate of the Congress party, you have tied up with Lalu's party. The fact is, Nitish Kumar keeps reminding the voters, compare me from 2005 to 2020 with Lalu Prasad from 1990 to 2005. And they say, and he keeps emphasizing, do you want to return back to Lalu Raj? Do you believe that is a comparison which will continue to weigh down the so-called Gathbandhan of the RJD Congress?
Absolutely not. And I think Nitish Kumar, your panel spoke about anti-incumbency and things like that. I will focus a little bit on governance. And in fact, I should call it misgovernance. And I think political people make arguments without facts. Let's just quote some statistics here. You said unemployment is a big factor, and I'll tell you why. Because unemployment rate in Bihar is 46%, which is the highest anywhere in India, which means almost every second Bihari is unemployed. Amongst the youth, that rate is over 55%. So are you telling me the youth is not frustrated? And when you talk about jobs, Nitish Kumar and Sushil Modi turn around and say within 2 months we are going to do it when we are elected back to power. What were you doing for 15 years? When you talk about COVID management, they said not enough hospitals were made by Lalu Prasad Yadav. What did you do for 15 years? Literacy. And that's another thing that, when I heard you and I was seeing the figures on TV, that's a big factor here. And I'll tell you why. Because Bihar used to top the literacy charts in the country. It is now trailing behind some of the poorest states in the country. And that is a big factor. Crime against women, and I'm sorry to say, even corruption charges that are being made against Nitish Kumar, the so-called Sushashan Babu, the so-called clean image, has taken a complete toll. I mean, he's inaugurating bridges which are collapsing the very next day or collapsing before inauguration. So all of this put together, and his complete abject silence when his state was going through a pandemic just like the rest of the country was, and locking himself up for 6 months, not being visible for his people, will obviously take a beating. And which is why I think the whole Sushashan Babu image has taken a toll. We are seeing Kushasan, and that's what Bihar will vote on. I have no doubt in my mind.
Let's just take our viewers through some very important insights. Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.